So, uh, first of all, we'll start with one thing that I told you guys yesterday regarding VIM. We were not able to figure that out, how we are supposed to edit a particular file using VIM while taking the input directly from the terminal, which means like if I want to save this data, right? uh, Testing in a file called in a file directly, and I do not want to put the name. Okay, so in that case what I can do, I can put this echo testing, and pipe means that output will go into the VIM editor, and here we have to mention a hyphen. That means we are not providing the file name, we are reading the input directly from the terminal or from another command. Okay, where it could be useful, for example, if you are running some kind of nmap or some other tools output you want to save in the VIM while not giving it a file name, you can use it. So right now what I will do, or sometimes maybe some big data, right? Some base 64 encoded data or some hashes you want to store, and you do not have any other editor there, right, apart from VIM. In that case you can use this in a way like here you can mention that hash, right, and then you can put it in a particular file, uh, like this, where we are reading the input from the from another command. Okay, so when I press enter, you will see that this data will be put into a file, but there would be no name to this particular file. So now we are in the VIM editor, but here you can see there is no name to this file. So how we are supposed to save it with a particular name? You can use colon, press colon, then W space, then the file name. So I can give it like hashes.txt. If you do that, you can see that the file is now written, and now the file name is hashes.txt. Again, yesterday we discussed how you can close a file while saving it, but because we have already saved it, I can either do colon Q, or if I want to save it and then quit, then I can use W to save and then Q to quit. So colon WQ will save it, then quit it. Okay, but because we have already saved it, we can directly do colon Q and it will close the file. Now if I read that hashes.txt, you can see that the content is hash. So the content was put from another command into that particular file, and then we gave it the name. Okay, once we were in the VIM text editor. Okay, so that's how to save a particular file with the name, you are supposed to use colon W to save it, then the file name actually. So that way you can save it, that way you can give a name to a file which is not having a name. Okay, so that's the syntax for that we missed yesterday. Okay, now we will be moving forward within this part only. So terminal text editors, yesterday we were not connected to this target machine IP, right, using SSH from the attacker box. This IP we were not connected yesterday, so that's why we were not able to answer this question that what is the content of task 3 within the tryhackme's home directory, right? So now I have already connected to that machine over SSH from this attacker box, from this Kali machine. Okay, I have already done it using SSH, and now what I will do, I have to first of all identify where am I. Okay, so pwd, it seems like we are in the home directory of tryhackme already. So if I ls, I can see that there is a file called task 3 and it's asking us to edit it. So we can either use VIM or we can use nano. So I will use nano because it is available there, and if I press enter, you can see that the content of this file, and it is asking us to put that content right here. So I will put that, so that the flag is text editors, and I will submit it. So that way we can complete this part of text editors under this particular room. So we are done with this. Now we will be moving on to the useful utilities that we should be knowing how to use those. Okay, so first one is wget. Okay, mostly we use wget to download a file from the internet or from a local server as well. Okay, so we have to, for example, I will show you uh, H HD images. Okay, like this. If I open any image here and I right click and do the copy image address, press it here. Now suppose I want to download this image directly on my Kali machine here. This is actually the target. Just a moment, let me close this. Control X I will put to close that nano text editor. Just a moment. This is actually the target machine, right? We are not supposed to download there because we won't be able to see that file. What I will do, I will open a new terminal here on my virtual machine. I will do it actually. So clear, I will go to the my temporary directory within root. Here what I will do, I will use WGET and paste that link. When I press it, press enter, you can see that something got downloaded and it got saved into a file called this one. Now what I will do, I will show you this manually by going to my home directory. Within my file system I have temp, right? File system is actually slash, okay, only. So you can call it root, and within that we have the temp directory. Here you can see that file, right, that got saved. So wget you can use to download a file directly from the internet, but the link has to be correct, okay? It has to be like this, that you can normally if you are on your bank account, there you have a download invoice button. As soon as you click on that button, the file gets downloaded, right? So the link has to be like that, okay? It shouldn't be like that, that you are clicking on download statement and you are being redirected to another page, right? In that case, what will happen, it will download the HTML code of the page where it is being redirected, okay? Because that's the link download statement button is storing, okay? So to download any file, it has to be like the exact path. Now here it's giving us one another path and asking us to try this one. If we try that as well, you would be able to see that we can download it. I will open my terminal again. I will clear this screen. I will paste that whole command here. And what it is on tryhackme's website, there is a file called myfile.txt. I will press enter, and you can see that it is giving us 403 error, means we are not allowed to download it. Why? Because we are not connected to VPN, I guess, from this machine. But let's try to download it from this attack box, right, that we have on the tryhackme. So I will open a new terminal here, and here let's see if we are allowed to download it. I will go to the temp directory first, and then I will just, because I have copied that whole command, I have to first paste it here, then only I can access it within the attacker box. We have already explained this in previous sessions. So yeah, I will paste that link here. Now let's see, press enter, and now see that address got resolved because we were connected to the tryhackme, but for some reason it's not downloading. But if it were a valid file and we had the access to this file, it will get downloaded using wget. So you can use it that way. Now the next one is SCP. Actually we call it secure copy, okay? Now this is a bit different from the copy command. Copy command you normally use to copy a file from one local location to another local location, okay, like from one folder to another folder, like that. But SCP is to move it from one machine to another machine, okay? Where exactly you would find it useful? For example, you are targeting a machine, okay, and from your Kali machine you have got the access to a remote machine over SSH, or okay, or you found some credentials of SSH service on that remote system. Now you are able to connect to that remote machine over SSH, okay, you got the terminal access, but you are not sure how you can move some files from your system to that system, okay? Where exactly you would find this helpful? In privilege escalation, okay? Because in when you are trying to escalate your privileges from a normal user to admin account, okay, you would need some shell scripts or some Python files, okay, to find out where there is a privilege escalation vulnerability on that system. So for that we will be discussing in future, but there are some shell scripts actually that you should be transferring to that target system and then running those. So how we can do that using SCP? We can copy it from, we can use it to copy the files to a remote system. Also we can use it to copy files from a remote system to your current system. Okay, and see what we will do. Here the syntax is given. Okay, we will try to copy one file from our attacker box to this remote machine. Okay, let's see whether it works or not. But the syntax I would explain. You have to mention scp in the beginning, what file you want to copy remotely or send remotely. Okay, then the user of the remote, like ssh user at the rate the ip of that machine, colon, and where exactly you want to put that file. Okay, the whole path of that file. So that is the syntax. Now see what I will do. Here I will go to the temp directory on our target machine. Okay, this is our target machine. This is not the attacker box. Attacker box is the one where we have root logged in. Okay, this is target machine. Here I want to see what are the files already here within the temp directory. I will run ls. I can see there is no file. All of these are folders actually, because these are in blue color. Okay, now what I will do, just a moment. I will try to copy a file from my attacker box terminal to this particular machine. Okay, using scp. So here let's see. I will clear the screen first. Let's see whether we have a text file already here, otherwise we will create it. Okay, so we have a thmip.txt. Let's see what is there. I guess it's created by some other user only here. There is one IP. Okay, so let's just assume that this is a privilege escalation file, or let's see, I will create uh, a file. Okay, steps to escalate your privileges. Okay, I'll put that content into a privilege.txt file. Now let's see what we have it or not. So now we have a file called priv.txt right here, right? Now I want to move it to that remote system. Okay, what I have to do, I have to use scp in the beginning. So I will clear the screen for more clarity. scp, then the remote username, so that is tryhackme, right? The ssh credentials for remote machine is tryhackme as username, password as tryhackme as well, right? Then the ip of that machine at the rate, and the remote ip is 10.10.163.242, then colon, and then the path where we want to paste it. So I will put it like this, priv.txt. I missed one thing in the beginning. I had to mention the path of the file that I want to copy actually. So after scp I have to mention the name of the file that I want to copy, and in the destination it doesn't have to be the same name actually. If you want to put it like priv1.txt as well, you can do that. Now I will press enter. Now it will ask me the remote machine's SSH password as well. So that is tryhackme as well. try hack me. And let's see whether it succeeds or not. Okay, so see, 100% some data got sent. And now we will come back to our target machine because we have already access to that machine using SSH. I will clear the screen and I will run ls to verify. So now you can see we have priv1.txt here, and if I do scp command, most of the time you will find, okay, on the target machines as well, also on your Kali machines as well. So you can use it to move data back and forth. For example, if you have some sensitive file on this target machine, you can move it using scp to your Kali machine as well in the same way. Okay, and now we will just verify whether we have the same content here or not. So yeah, so that way you can move the file from your Kali machine to the remote machine. The other way is also same. Just make sure that on your Kali machine the SSH port is open. Otherwise, if the SSH port is not open, that means from this target machine you cannot connect to this your Kali machine over SSH. That way, in that case, SCP is not going to work, because SCP is actually secure copy on SSH only. So in case SSH is not working remotely, you cannot copy the files. Okay, so that is one way of using that is the way of using SCP to move files between remote systems. Okay, now one thing is it would often come handy actually. Right now we use SCP to move that file, right? I will show you one more thing. So this is our attacker box, our Kali machine, and this is our target machine, right? This tryhackme machine. Here I have this pre1.txt. I will again remove this file. Okay, remove pre1.txt using rm command. I will press enter. I will clear the screen. I will double check whether that got removed or not. So yeah, it got removed, right? Now what I will do, on my Kali machine's terminal, there is one another way to move any file from your Kali machine to the target machine. What you can do, you can start a temporary website server. Okay, temporary website server means using Python you can do it. Okay, so wherever you start that website server, that folders files you can access. For example, if I start that server right now at this location within temp, right? So from remote location I would be able to access this file, these folders, and this file as well. Okay, so from wherever, whichever path, okay, you start that remote server, remote Python http server, you would be able to access all the content of that path. Okay, so right now if I started within temp, I would be able to access all of this content remotely. How exactly we are supposed to start that server? I will clear the screen. You have to use python 3 space hyphen m. Actually hyphen m stands for a module, so just for the reference, and then we can say http.server. What it will do, it will start a server, Apache server you can say, on your IP actually. So now it's saying that it started on this particular IP and on the port 8000. Okay, but there is one issue. If you try to access uh, this particular IP remotely, like from this target machine, right, it's not going to work because this is an local, you can say, IP. Okay, so for that purpose what we need to do, we need to first of all find out what is the IP of our Kali machine, right, so that we can replace this IP with that Kali machine's IP, and then we can try to access whatever file was there within temp, right, those we can access remotely using WGET or curl. Okay, so let's see how we can find out that Kali machine's IP. We can open another tab. Just a moment. Open terminal, and let's use ifconfig command to find out the IP of this particular Kali machine, because the server is running on this Kali machine, and the IP that we see under ETH0 actually, that should be the one that we should be using to access this website server running on this Kali machine. So the IP is 10.10.231.132. Okay, 10.10.231.132. Okay, now what I will do, I will move on to the target machine terminal. Here wget http 10.10.23, just a moment. Here also on top you will mostly see that IP 231.132, and the port was 8000, right? That's where that server is running. So now when I mention this path, okay, you can say that this path actually is going to give us access to the slash temp, and within slash temp we have a file called prev.txt. Okay, so now if I press enter, you can see that the download was successful, 100% completed. And because I had already deleted that prev1.txt earlier, but this way also if you download, you can download content from a remote system. See, we got the prev1.txt here right now, and if I read the content of it again using cat command, I can do so, and you will see the same content here as well. So steps to escalate your privileges. Now what is the requirement in case SCP is not there but wget is there, right? You can use this way to move files from your Kali machine to the remote machine. Okay, so that's how you do it. Any questions regarding this part, like what we did? What we have done is we have started a website server on our Kali machine within the slash tmp folder. Whatever files are there within slash tmp folder, we would be able to access those files remotely using wget if the wget command is available on the remote system. What it means, for security purpose, sometimes they remove these commands actually, or like restrict the access for the normal user. It may be the case that for the tryhackme user we are not allowed to run wget command. It may ask us to enter the password of root user or the admin user. Okay, that may happen. And one more thing, if you notice, as soon as we ran this command to get that prev.txt, here where we started our local website server, you can see that a request came from this IP. This is the IP of remote system actually, and a request came to download the file called prev.txt. Okay, and the response that was given by us was 200, means success. So that also you can see in the logs. Any doubts regarding this part? Anything? Okay, okay, fine, no issues. And just a moment. Okay, okay, thanks for confirming. So yeah, so that's, just a moment. Let's see if anything else is there. So yeah, that's how you can create a website server on your Kali machine, or the attacker machine, you can say. And this is how, using wget, on this terminal I will show you. It's really slow actually. Yeah, this is how you can access that file from the remote machine or the attacker machine. Okay, you have to mention that IP of the attacker machine here, colon, wherever the this server is running, on whatever port it is running, and then the file name which is there in that folder. Okay, so if I try to access another file which is not there in this slash tmp, right, where we started that Apache server, it's going to give you an error that it doesn't exist. Okay, so that's how you can access files from your attacker machine to your victim machine or remote machine. Okay, so that is how you do it using Python and wget. So now we will be completing few questions here. uh, Ensure you are connected. Okay, we are. Use the Python to start a web server in the home directory of the. Now what it is saying, it is asking us to start the Python server on the target machine. Okay, within the home directory of tryhackme. So let's see, where are we right now. We are in the temp directory, so we will go to the home directory first. Here we will see how many directories are there. So we have two users, so we have to go into the home directory of tryhackme. So within home we will go to the tryhackme. Okay, and clear the screen. Using pwd I can verify where am I. So I am in the home directory of tryhackme. Now if I run ls, okay, I can see that there is a file task3 here, right? Now what I will do, I can see only task3 here. Okay, but one more thing I told you guys earlier, that always use it with the -a option as well to show all the files including the hidden files. Right now you only see task3, but if I use -a with it, okay, you will see that there is a file called flag.txt as well. Okay, which starts with a dot you can ignore, but the actual name is flag.txt. Dot is only there to hide this file. Okay, so that file is also there. Now it's asking us to start a Python server like within the home directory, so that we can access this flag.txt from our Kali machine, because the server would be running here, right? And anything that is there within this tryhackme directory would be accessible remotely if we use wget command. So what I will do, I will clear the screen, and now we are running that Apache, or like the website server within the tryhackme users home directory. So we will run it the same way, but now it is the the movement of data would be from the attack machine to the sorry, from the victims user to the attack machine. Okay, like from our this tryhackme machine to Kali machine. Okay, we are getting the data. So now I will start this server here. It got started. One thing again, it is starting on 0 0 0 0. So if we have to access it remotely on our Kali machine, we have to mention the IP of the remote machine, right? So that we already know the remote IP machines IP is 10.10.163.242. So from this is root, means this is our Kali machines terminal. From here, if I do wget http colon slash slash 10.10.163.242 colon 8000, right? It is running on the 8000 port. Now from that it is asking us to download the file called flag.txt. So we'll mention flag.txt. We could have read the file there as well, but it's asking us to do this way, that get that file from the remote location here and then try to access it. Right now, see what we are getting. It is saying that we were not able to find the file. So what I will do, I will put a dot in the beginning as well. So yeah, that was the correct name, dot flag.txt, because it was a hidden file. Now I will do ls. If I do ls, still I won't be able to see this file because it got saved with the same name like dot flag.txt, and by default the dot files are hidden. So what I have to do, I have to use ls hyphen a to see that file first, whether it is there or not. So yeah, in the beginning only here you can see this file is there, flag.txt, and we will now read the content of it using cat command, cat space dot flag.txt, and the content of it is thm wget web server. So I will put that answer right here, wget web server, and we will submit this, and this is the right answer. Now it is saying that you can, whenever you want to stop the http server or website server, you can use control plus c. So if I press control plus c, I can exit this server from running. So now if I try to run this command from the Kali machine, what we ran just now, to get that flag.txt again, I won't be able to run it because there is no server running on the remote machine now. See, the connection refused because there is no server running on this particular IP or port now. But earlier when it was running, we were able to get the flag.txt as well. So yeah, one thing we'll just see here. Earlier, see, when we requested for that file get flag.txt, right, it gave us 404. Why? Because that file was not existing there. So these are the logs that you are getting on the target machine from where we are trying to get the data. Now when we requested for dot flag.txt, it responded with a 200, means the file was found and it was returned to the Kali machine's terminal. So yeah, that's how you can use these commands. The commands that we discussed are scp to move data over ssh. Then you can use wget as well to download a file from a direct link, okay, full link. Also how you can start a temporary website server on any machine, like if you have to move data from your Kali machine to the target to the victim machine, you have to start the server on the Kali machine, okay, because you are trying to access the files from Kali machine, okay. And in case you want to move the files from your victim machine to your Kali machine, you have to run the server on the victim machine, and using wget you would be able to get those files on your attacking machine or Kali machine, whatever we are calling it, okay. So that's how you can use these to move the files, okay. scp, wget, and we talked about python to start the web server. So yeah, that's all for today.